Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion. And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you. It's a busy day around Oregon athletics, and particularly for those of us on the Oregon Sports Network, because you'll notice the desk is kind of decorated for basketball. That's because Tip-Off Tuesday returns today. The first Oregon basketball coaches show of the season. Dana Altman, Kelly Graves going to join us. Also, our student-athlete spotlight will be on India Rogers, the transfer from USC, getting back healthy. Terry Johns had a great conversation with her. That's all coming up. But where to tune in your area, goducks.com/OSN. Those of you who are with us live for Duck Insider in the 1 o'clock hour, from 2:30 to 3:30, Terry Johns and I will be right here inside the Country Financial Studio for Tip-Off Tuesday. Looking forward to our first basketball coaches show. Now, I wish that today we were recapping an Oregon men's basketball victory over Colorado. Unfortunately, if you missed the news yesterday, that game had to be postponed due to COVID protocols. And we're going to talk about all of that with Rob Mullens, actually. The Oregon Athletic Director happened to be scheduled to be on today. And, well, we're going to talk about that, Rob. We're going to talk about a successful Oregon football season. We're going to talk about Dan Lanning. We're going to talk about the fact that spring sports are coming up. We're going to talk about anything else that you want to get to. How are you? Happy New Year.
I'm doing great. Wow. That was rapid fire.
I tried to cover it all.
Hey, did you win the Matt Ulmer ball in an auction or what?
So, it's a fun story. Matt Ulmer said that when I asked, hey, do you have a volleyball with an O on it that we could put on the desk? And he said, well, yeah, I've got one in my office. So he walks over. If you want to take a look, I mean, if you've seen it.
I can see that, yeah.
So he walks over, and he says, well, here, take this one. This one apparently was sitting on his shelf. It's the Matt Ulmer first career win, Oregon 3, Nebraska 1. This was the ball that got the last point on August 25th, 2017. And I said, you really want to leave this in here? Like, this seems valuable. And he goes, well, yeah, I want you to think of me every time you go on the air, and I'm always going to be on the show every day.
Bam.
And
that's
so,
trust.
Well, you're not wrong. It's probably too much trust, if we're being honest. But yeah, so I guess I won it in the auction of I asked for a volleyball, and he happened to have this one.
Boom. Yeah.
But if you have not, have you heard the story of Flat Joey? Did you ever know about Flat Stanley as a kid?
Yes, I've got two kids, so I'm very familiar with Flat Stanley.
So my cardboard cutout became Matt Ulmer's Flat Stanley, Flat Joey.
So you went all over.
Well, apparently I have now been in every office in Matthew Knight Arena in one way or another, thanks to Coach Ulmer's efforts. And that, so, you know, this is what, I guess this is just what we do.
You're famous.
Well, no, that's not true. But anyway, I didn't think we'd talk about that today. But I've also got a BCS National Championship ball.
Yeah.
You know,
that was a fun experience.
Yeah, we got a few. Well, hey, Rob, I mean, let's start. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Yeah, here we go. 2022.
It's going to be better than 21.
Yeah, I mean, 21 had its moments, had some challenges, but it was progress, I guess, in some ways. But, yeah, looking forward to 2022.
Well, let's start with men's basketball. You know, this is kind of the world that we're living in right now, unfortunately.
No, it is, and we're kind of back in seeing the spread and the number of cases. And obviously, if you look across the national landscape, you've seen a number of games postponed or canceled, and we're back to working with our Pac-12 Medical Advisory Group and leaning on our conference staff to find ways to play these games. The health and safety of our student athletes is always going to be the priority. So, we're probably going to have some starts and stops here over the next 30 days as we get through this Omicron variant phase.
That's just going to be part of the deal, everybody. So deep breaths. We'll give you the news when we have it. And we're going to try to reschedule those games. That's
No, absolutely. The goal is to play as many games as possible. And as you've seen already, we rescheduled one. Unfortunately, didn't get it in. But, there's constant communication between the member institutions, between the league, obviously the Pac-12 Medical Advisory Group. And obviously we're only going to do it when it's safe to do. But try to find a way to get as many games as possible.
So more news to come. We'll talk about that more on Tip-Off Tuesday. If you're live with us on Duck Insider in the 1 o'clock hour, Tip-Off Tuesday coming up on the Go Ducks YouTube, Oregon men's and women's basketball social media channels at 2:30 this afternoon. You can tune in across the Oregon Sports Network tonight. Also listen on the Oregon Sports Network podcast. We cover a lot of mediums. At least we try to anyway. Try to hit every audience. That's part of the deal, right?
That's right. We want to stay in touch.
Let's talk about Dan Lanning before we talk about the season that was. Now, since the last time you and I talked, he's started to put together a staff and he's starting to settle in maybe a little bit, though he's got a national championship to go win.
Yeah, he's helping prepare his previous employer, I guess, for the national championship game. Obviously had a phenomenal semifinal performance. But yeah, put together the staff. Most of them are here and have hit the ground, obviously, with a similar priority to what Dan had, and that is getting to know the current student athletes with the winter term starting yesterday. So they're here getting settled. Families are, coming and going and visiting with realtors, understanding the schools and, a lot of families. So trying to help them transition and get settled.
A couple announcements yesterday on Joe Lorg, special teams, and Nichols coach, Pacific Northwest native, and then Junior Adams, wide receiver coach, coming in for the Ducks, a co-offensive coordinator. Their full bios, don't worry, we'll go through them later on the show today. And if you haven't gotten a chance to read through the bios of some of the staff members that the Coach Lanning has added, they'll raise your eyebrows. They're a successful group.
Yeah, no, real impressive staff, and it was interesting. Coach Lorig, obviously coming from Penn State most recently, but started his career at Western Oregon University. So what a unique tie with family from the Northwest.
Gotta love it. Absolutely gotta love it. And I think that it's safe to say, is every Oregon fan a Georgia fan this week? And then they will not be a Georgia fan immediately following that championship game?
The second part of that is absolutely will not be following that, given that we're heading to Atlanta to kick off next season, the 2022 season. So I would imagine that there are many who are cheering for Coach Lanning in the national championship game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a great performance because, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the stories about Coach Lanning, which has been fun for me as like an Oregon fan, right, to just see Oregon pop up in all these different ways. And, just the kind of guy and the energy that he brings. I mean, there's been so much discussion about that, and clearly you saw that in the process interviewing him.
Yeah, we did. I mean, obviously, everybody's watched all year. It's a historic defense when you look at the numbers and the performance. But, as we talked to industry experts and then had a chance to visit with Dan, it became clear that obviously he's ready to be a head coach. He has a very specific formula, and he knows how to take culture and strategy and put the right people in it and produce results.
So what's the next step? I mean, he's obviously still got a job to do, but everybody else is here getting to work, as you mentioned. What's kind of the next step for football?
Yeah, I think their priority is to getting to know the current student athletes, right? Because that's how you build that culture, is you build those relationships, you build that family atmosphere. So that's the priority. And then, some of them haven't worked together, so getting to know one another. And then obviously, we're still in a recruiting period because you have the February signing date. So, we'll still be having recruiting weekends, and there'll be some recruiting and travel tied up. And then obviously you start building out the winter and the spring calendar because you got to, set up spring practices and do all these installs. And so there's a lot to be done.
We're 34 days away from signing day.
Oh, wow. Who's counting?
I did just in front of me, honestly, if I'm telling you the truth when you said that, because it's the first Wednesday in February.
Yes.
And so obviously that's a big day, and the recruiting, we've talked about this a little bit, Rob, and I think it's worth I already see a question about recruiting in the comments, right? Everybody's thinking about it. The recruiting calendar is a little bit wild. It's hard to keep track of right now.
It is, obviously with the early signing period, and I didn't see the numbers this year, but I think in the past that early signing period has captured, somewhere between 70 and 75%.
That's a lot.
Of the prospective student athletes. But, some student athletes, because of coach transition and other reasons, do wait till the February. So obviously they'll hit the ground running, and that will the number one priority is the current student athletes, but following right behind that will be recruiting.
We'll talk a little bit about the kind of larger state of college football if we could in a minute, but I want to ask you about this team that just wrapped up a season, and I said this to Coach McClendon post game, Rob. I have so much respect for him, the way that he handled what is truly a difficult situation.
Really difficult, and Coach McClendon did a phenomenal job. Obviously, when we approached him about taking on that challenge, he had experienced that earlier in his career, and he embraced it and hit the ground running in that role, and did a phenomenal job. And really proud of him, all the coaches, and the student athletes for staying engaged, getting to the Alamo Bowl. Obviously, the outcome wasn't what they or anybody wanted, but really proud of how they finished the season.
Well, and I think it's easy for us to, as fans, right? I'm speaking as a fan here, to be like, they didn't win. Clearly something didn't go right. Well, I think it's bigger than that. I mean, and I know, and I should tell you, Rob, Coach McClendon said this himself when I kind of asked him this question post-game. He goes, yeah, but we're not at a spot with this program where we're happy about a moral victory of performing better in the second half, which is true. But the trajectory of the program is clearly pretty good.
Right, and to kind of, Coach McClendon's point during the whole postseason as interim coach was, we're going to finish this the right way. We've been at this for almost a full year now. We wanted this opportunity. We're going to finish it the right way. And the student athletes committed to that. And, while the numbers were thin, at some specific key positions, really proud of the way everyone stepped up there, went out and performed as best they could. Again, yes, if the Ducks are going to be in any kind of contest, our expectation is to win. But as you said, if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the way these young people stayed together, the coaches helped them finish off a season, and they got a bowl experience. That does feel good. And
a few student athletes that are now moving on to the next level. And, well, here's hoping we got a lot more pro Ducks to talk about, right?
Right. No, exactly. Obviously we want to help any young person who comes here fulfill their dreams. And for some in the sport of football, that's to play in the NFL. And, they have a difficult decision to make at times. And we're here to support them in that decision.
Some of them coming back, too, like the entire offensive line. Not
That's
bad.
a nice place to start.
Right? It's a good place to start in the trenches, win in the trenches. But it's always great to see, too, on the other side of that coin is student athletes that want to still come back and enjoy their time here.
No doubt. You only get one go-around at this college thing, and this is a pretty special experience here. We've got a great group of young men that enjoy training and competing together. As we've talked about in here, our number one priority is to surround them with all kinds of support to one, make sure that they have an exceptional college experience, but also to prepare them for whatever's next in life. So I love it when they choose to come back.
These aren't the kind of guys that give it the old college try. That's not the kind of people around this athletic department.
No.
I think that we've seen that, obviously, over the years. A quick timeout. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens is with us. We're going to come back, talk a little bit about the rest of the athletic department and a little more on football. Some of your questions, I'll answer them when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Toyotathon is on at your local Toyota dealer. Treat yourself to great deals on the sleek first ever 2022 Corolla Cross or the powerful all-new 2022 Tundra. It's all happening right now during Toyotathon. Toyota, let's go places.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Toyotathon is on at your local Toyota dealer. Treat yourself to great deals on the sleek first ever 2022 Corolla Cross or the powerful all-new 2022 Tundra. It's all happening right now during Toyotathon. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s, like go back to college, learn to skateboard. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. At aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a free 3-minute chat with the friendly digital retirement coach, Avo, and receive personalized tips to help boost your savings. Start chatting with Avo today at aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse? Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam! Ran right into the side of the saloon. Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Nugget Cider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. In the Country Financial Studio, Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens joining us. I'm Joey Mack. So Jovan Catron just commented, by the way, and I want you to know that this is coming from him. Can we start calling you Big Rob? Because he just said Big Rob with exclamation points. And so,
yeah.
Jovan, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, Jovan. I mean, boy, was he a fun student athlete.
Oh,
that was early on in the tenure, and it's great to have him back in our community, and always just an incredible supporter as a letter winner to not only Oregon basketball, to all of Oregon athletics.
Yeah, Jovan, one of many great ones that are around the Eugene area, which
you
know, that's so fun for me. Like, and that, to be honest, Rob, that's something that I've really missed during the period that we've been in, where there aren't as many people coming to practice. There aren't as many former student athletes that are coming around. It's just not as feasible now.
No, it's not. And, that's one of the great things about college athletics, right, is that you just get this great community interaction. And one of the things the pandemic has limited is our ability to have the kinds of interactions that we all want. We look like we're making some progress, and we got a little bit of a pause here, but hopefully we can get back on the right trajectory.
Talking about college football as a whole, I mean, I'm so happy that we got through a college football season.
Yes.
We had some interruptions during bowl season, for sure, but getting through a college football season, man, that felt good, I think, for all of us that work in sports.
No doubt. And you can talk to the student athletes, the staff. It was just great to have fans back in the venues. I know we all get caught up on the wins and losses, but when you have it taken away like we did in the 19 season, you play a really shortened season with no fans, you have a new appreciation for what a game day Saturday at Autzen looks and feels like, and it was good to have that back.
Greater college football question for you. Of course, the headlines now, and everybody's asking in the comments about recruiting, and well, now it's not just recruiting high school students, it's maybe recruiting other college students and the transfer portal and just all the headlines that's been grabbing. Rob, I mean, what's your read on the sort of evolution of college football with the transfer portal and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, we're in a period of significant change, whether it's transfer portal, name, image, likeness, and all those things are going to be a factor in college athletics from here going forward. Yeah. And so, it is a little unsettling because it's all new. But, you have to adapt and adjust because that is the future. We're all trying to find creative ways to make sure that we understand how it works and that we're able to operate in the new world order.
Yeah. And it is about, this is my opinion, Rob. I don't know if you agree, but it is about the student athletes in that regard too, right? Like, they're going to make a decision that's going to try to further themselves as best they can.
No doubt. And, the rule says that there is a one-time transfer with immediate eligibility. And, I think that is fair. And that it is just part of the world that we're going to live in.
We talked about this a little bit when you went through the hiring process, right, when Dan Lanning got hired. The carousel is spinning fast, as we've seen. I mean, do you foresee that, I guess, spinning less fast? I don't even know how to ask that question.
No, I don't. I think there's just I just think that's the nature of high expectations, immediate success, investment.
Sure.
And when you put all that together, I think you're going to see kind of a similar churn, if you will.
Churn. I like that word. I like that better, I think, than spin. I don't know why, but it's like I'm churning butter. It's
right.
It takes a little more work.
Well, and when you look at football, obviously, it is the economic engine that drives most programs. And if you want to sponsor 20 sports like we do here and be able to create this student-athlete experience and recruit and retain top-level talent, both student-athletes, staff, and coaches, you need a successful football program. That's where the resources are generated.
Talking about some other things around Oregon athletics. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens, a few more minutes for you. Women's basketball season off and running, and now they're getting healthy, which has been fun to see. I'm looking forward to seeing what a fully equipped, healthy roster looks like for Kelly Graves.
No doubt. I mean, obviously, when you have the talent that we have there, and the parts and the great coaching from Kelly and team, when it's at 100%, which it hasn't been all season, there can be something special there. And January, February is the time to put that together. And like you, I was really pleased to see Pow Pow and Niara and, everybody get back out there.
Yeah, India Rogers actually said that it was like the first time she'd ever been hurt. Yeah. Talking with Terry Johns, that interview on Tip-Off Tuesday coming up this afternoon. I'm kind of curious, Rob, too. Like, this is, Pac-12 season, right? Like, everyone's thinking about Pac-12. And then, oh, by the way, you got the game against UConn on the schedule. I mean, how big do you think that is for the women's basketball program here and beyond, that you're going to get those kind of marquee games at this point in the year?
No, it's great. And one of the things that you've seen with Kelly is, he is absolutely willing to play a top-5 schedule. If you want to be a top-5 program and an annual contender for national championships, you got to step into that arena, and he's proven that. Whether it's on the road, neutral site, and it's great to be have UConn coming to Matthew Knight Arena. Again, I applaud Kelly because he is absolutely willing. Because it's good for the game, it's good for Oregon women's basketball. It's great opportunity for our fans. Hopefully we can have a great showing.
We've seen it on the men's side too. More and more coaches are scheduling those big time games, and it's not like it used to be like if you had a matchup in a tournament, but now it's like there's the one-off games that are getting scheduled between top 10 teams. It's awesome.
It's great for the sport. Obviously, it's going to attract a big crowd. These types of matchups tend to attract quality TV audience. Right. And if you want to grow the game, and you want to keep fans engaged, what we've experienced here over the last several years, no matter what the sport is, people are attracted to big events.
Right.
Obviously you have the diehards who are there every single night.
And we love you.
But absolutely love you. You are the lifeblood of this program. But when you can throw in kind of a unique big event kind of matchup, it gets a different it has a further reach.
Yeah. Well, case in point, I loved the various ticket packages that we put together this year that were about like, hey, you've got football going on, and then by the way, there's an event Friday night, and there's something going on Sunday. I mean, if you're making the trip already, make it an awesome one.
Yeah, and we try to do that every year. It's not always possible, but when we had the Friday night men's basketball games, Saturday football game, and Sunday women's basketball, that's a pretty neat setup.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it even goes back to I'm about to ask you about spring sports. Even goes back to like if baseball and softball are playing on spring game Saturday.
Yep.
I love that. So speaking of spring sports, they're going to be here before we know it. A lot of those teams start practicing today. Actually.
Yeah, no, I've over the weekend saw some student athletes in and around our facilities, just getting back from a holiday break, and everybody's obviously excited to get going.
I'm looking forward to a lot of sports, but I did want to ask you about softball in particular because, well, Coach Lombardi's probably going to be on the show next week, first of all. But second of all, that sport, it seems like it always starts up quicker than I think, first week of February.
Yeah, no, when we're here and we get a snowstorm like we had in Eugene, it's hard to think of baseball and softball. But, yeah, no, it's really excited about what Coach Lombardi, obviously having Nikki Udria back and Sam Martyr, real excited, with the experience that they have, the newcomers, real excited to get them going.
Other diamond sport just across the way. If you are driving on MLK, you may notice some changes to PK Park. The renovation is underway. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, really excited for fans to come out and see. We've talked about it here for several years, obviously moving the fences in. Brand new turf that when you see it, it's going to pop. It's going to look a little different. So real excited for fans to come see that. Obviously, haven't started yet, but going to move to the video board next. So when you come to PK Park, it's going to have a different feel, a different vibe. And with the fences moving in, you're going to see a lot more offense.
I think Mark Wasikowski will be happy about that. But the pitching staff, well, ground balls.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what you got to do.
Keep it down.
Yeah, the Coach Angier, extra challenge, but I think it's great, Rob. I mean that's what fans in baseball want to see, a little bit of offense, right?
They do, and I think it'll be. I think obviously with Waz's expertise, I think there's a good balance.
Yes.
I don't think it's not gonna be a bandbox.
Right.
But it is gonna make the park play.
You don't want Colorado.
No, I think it is gonna make the park play a little smaller.
And now I actually haven't asked you this, and I don't know if there's an answer to this question, but like now that there have been a number of games at PK Park, you've got a little bit better idea of how it's gonna play, right? Like when you first build it, you don't know for sure.
Yeah, you don't, and then everybody talks about how the bats and the balls change and all that.
For sure.
But we saw balls flying out of there at the regional. So when that's happened, it kind of gives you a little pause, like, hey, we're already down the road on this project. Yeah. But again, I think with Waz's expertise, again, we found a great landing spot, kind of right in the middle. That's going to play both well offensively and defensively.
A good game of baseball.
Absolutely.
I mean, Kenyon Yovan, there's not a fence that he's found that he can't hit one over.
That's
and
for sure.
We saw that with that regional home run, man. The one that he hit against LSU, I still don't think it's landed.
Yeah.
We saw a few of those, which is great. I mean, we're sitting here talking about just yet again another program that hosted a postseason tournament, and that's awesome.
No, it was fantastic, and and to have a traditional power here, and to have fans engaged with NCAA postseason baseball, that's a different level. Every pitch is intense. And that's fun. That's another one of those big events that people are attracted to.
100%. Rob Mullens, thanks for the big event of being on the show today. Because Big Rob was here, according to Joe Vaughn.
Hey, Joe Vaughn, thank you. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you in the community sometime soon.
Love it. Rob Mullens, Oregon Athletic Director, thanks for what you do. Anything else before we let you go?
No, just, again, hope everyone had a great holiday break, and we're ready to go for the new year, and appreciate all the support.
New year it is. 2022 is going to be the best one yet.
Why not? Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're going to get a timeout. When we come back, speaking about the big events, how about the top plays from the 2021 Oregon football season, including one that I disagree with Scott on. Verone McKinley was snubbed. We're going to talk about that next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air.
Well, those of you on the stream, you've clearly noticed that we ran into a couple difficulties. Bear with us. Get it back for you.
The weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too. Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too. Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
I think we're back. Hey! Those of you who, I don't know if Tim said that on the air or not, but I was having a little bit of fun. I'm sorry. That probably freaked Tim out to no extent, and I feel really bad about that, Tim. I'm sorry. I realize now I shouldn't have done that. Tim Leonard is back at our satellite uplink. So those of you who have not heard us talk about Tim before, he's actually back at our satellite uplink, and that's where you, like the radio audience, hears our commercials and those sorts of things. Whereas everything that runs for the video portion of the show, including my ugly face, runs here from the Country Financial Studio with Scott. So those of you who were watching the show, you heard us lose connection to Tim, but we're back. So affiliates tuning in, I did do a little housekeeping. Those of you who were with us on the radio, that's why you heard 2 commercial breaks back-to-back, is Tim had to get reconnected to us. So we're back connected, which means that now you're stuck with me for one of the longest segments in Duck Insider history. It's going to be like an 18-minute segment. Those of you who have any comments and questions, I did see some. I can't answer questions about recruits. I wish that I could. To be totally honest with you, I hate that rule. Like, I wish that I could, on this show, talk about recruiting, but instead, because it's an NCAA violation, for me to talk about prospective recruits, we can't on the program. So, here we are. Now, let's have a little bit of an argument. Turn your mic on.
Here we go.
All right, this is Scott Phillips, everybody. And Scott, those of you who are on or who are watching the show, we do have a camera on Scott these days, so that you can not only look at my ugly mug, but look at Scott's as well. Scott is a fabulous editor. Don't ever let him tell you otherwise. He is the fastest video editor I have ever seen. Wow. He knows more hotkeys in Premiere than anybody I've ever encountered. Don't let it go to your head. Wow, all right. But in terms of picking top plays from a year, usually Scott's pretty good. So Scott put together a great video with Jerry's calls, footage from the Oregon videographer Steve Pohl and his team, and it looks great. Maybe you saw it on social media kicking off the New Year's Eve celebrations. It came out on New Year's Eve. Yep. Well, I watched it and I kind of thought, well, Verone McKinley's interception was a pretty big deal. Well, Scott didn't have it in there, and I thought, well, okay, maybe I don't know, maybe no one else will agree with me.
Do I get to defend myself at all?
You do in a second, but first let's let everybody enjoy the top plays from 2021 as we look back on the Oregon football season. Here's what Scott put together.
Anthony Brown Option keeps. First down run and more. Inside the 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Anthony Brown. That's what Brown can do for you. Thompson pump fake, wants to go downfield, the ball does. Catch made, first down run, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Oregon. Dante Thornton with a great move after the catch. 2 seconds, takes a snap. Give it to Cardwell going left, waits for a block, cuts it back, inside the 10. Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there. Move right, 2 receivers each way, back to throw Brown. Little pressure, hit, but throws, and it is caught for the touchdown. First of all, what a throw, and then what a catch by Troy Franklin. First down and 10 at the 20 of Cal. Brown back to throw. Some time for the end zone. Open! Catch made. Touchdown, Oregon. What a throw by Anthony Brown. Boy, he threaded the needle there, didn't he? Now it was Cardinal out to the left, back to throw. Brown pressured, running. Oh, he could have run it. He had a receiver wide open. Touchdown! Don't run it! Don't run it! Don't run it! Don't run it! Devin Williams. McLeod from the shotgun. And a throw. Pump fake, wants to go deeper down the right side. Got a man down there, picked up. Intercepted. That's Bennett Williams. Williams cuts it up across a couple of guys still on his feet. 50 with blockers. 40 the other way. He's got room. He's got the 20. He's got the 10. He scores! Bennett Williams! How about that? Oregon's defense with an opportunity to end it right there. Garbers. Ready with a snap. Quick throw out. Intercepted. It's picked down the sideline and out of bounds. DJ James has given it back to Oregon. And that is all I have to say about that. I'm laying down and taking a nap. I got nothing left. Snap and give it to Dye. Running right, cut back lane there. 10, 5. Look out. Touchdown, Travis Dye. Why not take advantage of it right now? And Brown wants the snap, has got it. Give it to Verdell. Busted up the middle. Here we go. Has he got the speed? 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Touchdown! C.J. Verdell. Yes, he's got the speed.
All right, those are the top plays. So Scott's going to get a chance to defend himself. You probably remember a lot of those. One of my personal favorites is when Jorgie says run it, and then Anthony Brown doesn't. Don't run it!
Yeah.
Don't run it! Because he made a great throw and a great catch. So those were the top plays. Having a little bit of fun, of course. Jerry and Jorgie always great on the call. And Steve Pohl and his crew shooting it. Awesome stuff. But, again, Verone McKinley was like, bro. So this was Verone's tweet about the subject. Just question mark, quote tweeting the Oregon football ringing in the new year with the top 10 plays of 2021. And it's just a great shot. I think it was Eric Evans, Oregon photographer, who took this shot. Verone McKinley just getting the interception to seal the win over Ohio State. And a lot of people agreed. Like, you scroll through those comments, and it's like, man, they did you dirty, Verone. So, Scott, the floor is yours.
Okay, look. Let me just say this. The goal was to pick one play from every victory, right?
Uh-huh.
So you pick one play. So I go back, and I'm looking at every play from every game. And I'm thinking, we don't have a C.J. Verdell run.
Okay, yeah,
And
sure.
that run at that moment for that game was like gigantic, huge, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
And so I put it in, and I'm like, that's the big play from the game. Because at the end of that game, you got the interception, but you also had the sack to end the game. And so I'm thinking, okay, it's either CJ or it's one of these two plays.
So
part
you
of the
went.
criteria though was Jerry's call as well.
I agree for sure, but so you went on the mindset of. Let me get this straight. You went on the mindset of, okay, one play from each game.
Correct. from each victory.
Why?
It was that was by committee. That was by committee.
So who else do we throw under the bus here?
Well, I think
maybe we don't need to do that.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
But it was the committee was because see, I was like, well, you could have had 4 plays of the year in one game.
I totally agree with that. But the consensus was let's get 1 play from every victory so that we have representation from every game that we won this year. 10 plays, 10 wins, boom.
Why couldn't we have done 12 plays from 10 wins?
Well, now you're getting into Monday morning quarterbacking.
Well, you didn't have me on the committee.
Yeah, but you were part of quality control, and you never said anything.
I never saw it before it got posted. Yeah, so everybody, just so you know, my job in a lot of this is like Scott and I have a joke. Like Scott will make it, then I'm the editor and critiquer and the quality controller, and then I'm the one that posts it for the world. This one I didn't post actually because I was doing basketball.
Yeah, you were busy, and
so
that's my bad. Okay, I will take responsibility for it.
So Devin says it's the top 10 plays, not just from each game. I agree.
Yeah. But the committee agreed that it was let's do 1 from every game, and I'm sorry, Verone. I will take that. I will take that, and I apologize.
I feel so bad. Scott's only ever on the air when we do stuff like this.
I know.
It's only ever the roast of Scotty Phillips. Yeah. Okay, so now let's make this right.
We'll make it right.
We went in. So Verone McKinley, we got you, man. Yes. This was a top play of the year.
Snap, back to throw. With time. Pressure comes. Trying to run away from it. Now we'll just dump a short pass. It's intercepted! It is intercepted. Verone McKinley with a pick at the 37-yard line and then out of bounds.
All is right in the world now. Verone McKinley with one of the top plays of the year. Now, ranking them from 1 to 10 is hard. Yeah. So, look, committee or not, that is really hard to do. I've been doing this long enough now to have had some years where I'm going, I don't know. 1 through 5 are like 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D.
I agree. Yeah, you could toss them up any which way. I mean, Ohio State, it had to be number 1 because we don't have
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beating Ohio State.
The rest of them you can kind of interchange.
And then, it's interesting when you're judging top plays of the year, too. It's like, was the play on its own amazing, or did the context of when it happened and what it meant?
And there's all that.
Right. And I think the context of the Verdell run against Ohio State is that was what put Oregon in control. So there you go. Yeah. These are the things that we talk about at the end of
no love in the comments
football
for
season.
For my picks?
Everybody's
just ripping on me?
Well.
Kind of.
No, I mean, it's,
Okay, good.
It's fine. Right. I think everybody's just sitting here with who are live with us and can comment on the video stream. They're just sitting here going like, okay. But so Verone, we got it right, buddy. All right. Verone McKinley, hey, in all seriousness, to the general, best of luck in the NFL.
I'm going to miss that guy.
Yo, man, I already miss that guy. Because you know what? If Verone ever wanted to take my job, I will just get out of the chair and walk away right now. Because he will be great in anything he does.
Smart man
there. Really smart man. Devin says there were some great plays in the bowl game that could be in the top 10. I think after the loss, we were all just kind of like from the regular season.
Right.
Maybe we should have said that.
For next year.
I'll know for next year. Hey, we adapt. What's the phrase from coaches? Compensate and adjust. You compensate and adjust.
Yeah.
We're compensating and we're adjusting.
Yeah, off into the ball.
We're going to find out what exactly that means. God, Scott, great transition. World-class transition from Scott. So I had a few fans ask me over the last, really few years, but especially I think as Coach Altman's been talking about it a lot in his interviews. I think we all, those of us who have watched basketball, listened to basketball, kind of look like we know what off into the ball means, right? Like if I'm defending Scott and he passes the ball, well, I need to go off my defender and be looking toward the ball, right? Like you got to kind of give that spacing. That's good defense. Well, so instead of me trying to explain it, I actually asked Coach Altman. I was like, Coach, take us to Basketball 101 class right now. And his answer was awesome. Like it was way more way more in depth than I honestly expected him to go. That's on Tip-Off Tuesday this afternoon, this evening. If you're listening on one of our Oregon Sports Network affiliate stations, then at 7:05 tonight, the Oregon Basketball Coaches Show will be live across the Oregon Sports Network. You can also listen to it on the Oregon Sports Network podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to the Oregon Sports Network podcast. This show, Coaches Shows, some special edition shows every now and then. You got that for your daily stuff, and then you got the long-form storytelling with the Mighty Oregon podcast. That's our goal, anyway, with how we do things. And I mean, I am the director of broadcasting. I guess it's kind of on me if it doesn't work right, but that's our plan anyway. And then we have also on Tip-Off Tuesday this afternoon, if you want to watch the show live, if you watch Duck Insider live from 1 to 2, you can also watch Tip-Off Tuesday on the various social media channels that we have for Oregon men's basketball, women's basketball, and the GoDucks YouTube. It will be live from 2:30 to 3:30 this afternoon, talking with Dana Altman, Kelly Graves, and India Rogers on the show this week. I do want to recap our picks. Jerry and Jorgie are going to join us on the show this week. Boy, bowl season for the Pac-12 did not go well. And it did not go well in our bowl pick'em, really for anybody, but particularly for me. I tied the coin. Not good. Not good. So, the way the Pac-12 bowl season shook out, Central Michigan ended up playing Washington State. Well, we had, I don't know if Scott does not know this, I should have texted him this, as the keeper of the coin. On the pregame show during the Alamo Bowl, the three of us were all on, and we were like, well, does anybody want to pick Central Michigan and change their pick? Because it was supposed to be Washington State, Miami, and we were all like, meh. Go Washington State. Back the pack. Well, I should have changed my pick. Central Michigan looked pretty good. Should have changed my pick. Central Michigan beat them 24-21. Beavs lost to Utah State 24-13. Wisconsin beat Arizona State 20-13. And then we did not see a great outcome in the Rose Bowl for the Pac-12, but it was a whale of a game, wasn't it? Just a great game. Ohio State, a 48-45 win in the Rose Bowl over Utah. So that meant that because all of us picked Wisconsin, I got one. But everybody lost their pick on OSU. UCLA North Carolina State did not get played due to COVID. And then we all picked Washington State. That did not go well. Ohio State was the winner for Jerry and Jorgie, and I picked Utah. I was feeling great about my Utah pick until like 5 minutes left in the game. Going to be honest with you guys. And full disclosure, I was watching that Rose Bowl game while sitting at Matthew Knight Arena getting ready for basketball that night. And who were the Ducks playing? The Utes. So there were some interested Utah folks as well. But yeah, I went 1-3 in picks. Jerry and Jorgie went 2-2. So Jerry and Jorgie won the bonus bowl pick'em. I don't know how I feel about that.
I think you need to have a winning record.
Well, it would be nice. Yes, thank you. A winning record would be good. Thank you, Scott. Anyway, there's your 2021 year in review. We're going to introduce you to a lot of the new coaches for Oregon football here coming up. Joe Lorig and Junior Adams announced yesterday. Full details, GoDucks.com. We'll go through their bios a little bit later on here this week. I do want to get a timeout, come back, hear a little bit of what was going on with Tahina Paopao and India Rogers postgame, because women's basketball, with their nice win over Carroll College, they're getting ready for a trip to the Bay Area for a matchup with Stanford. Got a few things to talk about on that front. We're going to zero in on women's basketball when we return. It's Duck Insider here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a country financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
car shopping, you meant business. You ace vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesman to the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Back on Nugget Cider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joy Mack in the Country Financial Studio. We're going to hear a little bit from Kelly Graves, a little bit from Tina Pow and India Rogers, because after the victory over Carroll College, because remember the Oregon women had to deal with COVID protocols, postponing their games against Colorado and Utah for both of those programs dealing with COVID protocols. So the Ducks got Carroll College to come play. And Kelly Graves, I think he thought, and this was his exact comment post-game, they took a step forward. And it sounded like they just needed to get a game, and they shook off a little bit of rust, as Kelly Graves said post-game.
When I got the call from really within the hour of each other, the call from both the Utah head coach and Colorado saying they weren't coming, we just kind of scrambled to just try and find a game, because we had our last one canceled at Northwestern. It had been a long time since we'd played, and we didn't win our first game in 3 weeks to be at Stanford. So, I know Coach Rochelle, great gal. And runs an awesome program, and they happened to be playing at Willamette yesterday. So we just kind of took care of some expenses and put them on the schedule next year for an exhibition game and put it together. So we really appreciate them, making that sacrifice, because they opened their conference play Thursday maybe, and so they have a late flight tonight, and it's not easy to get into Helena. So. I'm happy and grateful that they decided to play us. But yeah, it was put together like Thursday.
What do you think of having the three of them together finally?
We got out of this what I was expecting. It didn't look great at times, but it was just good to have them. You saw bits and pieces of how good they really are.
Did you, offensively side, was some of the pick and rolls obviously still works there, but some of the just fluidity and transition. Oh, that's as great as that is to see. Were you trying not to play as many half-court sets just by design, or does that just let the defense bring the offense and let do it?
Well, we ended up running more half-court sets. I wanted us to flow quicker. I didn't think we did a very good job in transition and going from transition into the offense. It was way too choppy early. We want to be more fluid. And it just wasn't the case tonight. It looked like we were in cement, both ends of the floor, but especially offensively in that first half. But no, we wanted to get out and transition more. That's kind of one of our emphases after Christmas, and we looked a little tired, to be honest with you.
Perimeter defense going to be a point of emphasis.
What's that?
Perimeter defense going to be a point in closing out.
Well, yeah, 10 of 21 from the three-point line, and I don't know how many of those were pretty open. A lot of them, yeah, just miscommunication. Just quite frankly, we looked unorganized defensively.
Get better on defense. Happy with where the offense was. I think that's kind of the theme now for Oregon women's basketball this week as they get ready for what's a big-time matchup. It's always a big-time matchup when you play Stanford women's basketball. That's Friday, 7 o'clock. Terry Johns will have the call at 6:30. I do want to let you hear a little bit of what Tina Pow and India Rogers had to say post-game. And, look, you're going to hear in their voices truly excited to be back out on the floor as Tina Pow and India Rogers met with the media.
For each of you, but Tina first, just one, to be back after – like 2 months for you. So what is it like being back at this point for you, and for both of you, just playing together again for the first time since that early season exhibition? What is it like?
I'm sorry. It feels really good to be back. Just being out there with my team, having fun, and competing with each other. That's the thing that you want to do when you're in college and an athlete. So just being out there with my teammates, having fun, is just nice to feel again.
It's exciting. I was excited to be back for Kansas State, but we had a long break. Now I'm back. So, yeah, it's pretty exciting because we know how good of a team we can be once we get back and rolling into things and get our chemistry right.
That was going to be the question I asked both of you. Just the chemistry, what did it feel like? Do you guys feel like you have an understanding of everybody's on the court yet? Do you guys understand roles? How hard has that process been in the last couple of weeks just to get that sorted?
Well, it's like when we were out, people were playing roles that they were doing things that they don't normally do. So now that we're back there having I wouldn't say revert, but, it's kind of like weird a little. But we don't really get to practice together. So it's kind of a hard adjustment in the game, but we make it because we have to. But, yeah, the chemistry will get there. We're just looking forward to a great week of practice and facing Stanford on Friday.
And that's what they're doing now, getting ready. But you could just hear it with India Rogers and Tina Paopao both. I mean, they're smiling up there as they're doing the post-game interview because they're like, yeah, this is great to be back together. You love to see that. And I think that Oregon women's team is going to be really good. It's just a question of it's not a flip switch, right? It's going to take a little bit of time to get that chemistry. And it's not honestly just chemistry. I think it's also just getting back into shape, right? Like you miss 6 weeks or whatever it is for each of them. And it's not just those two, Nyara Sabally too. You miss time. It takes time to get back into that basketball shape, get back into the flow, whatever phrase you want to use. It takes time to do that. And I think that's what Oregon women's basketball is facing. And to be honest with you, much like what I've been observing with N'Faly Dante, something that Coach Altman and I have talked about a number of times now is just where is Dante at in terms of how many minutes can he play and, what kind of shape is he in? That matters a lot. And missing just that little amount of practice, it seems like a little amount of practice, but it's a lot in terms of just getting back into the flow. I feel like January for both of these teams, there's still kind of a build-up period, right? And then I hope that come February, we're talking about two teams that are just rocking and rolling. The question then becomes, for postseason play, what's that resume look like? Does the resume look good enough right now to be able to say, yeah, we're good if we take care of business in February, March? I don't know. I think that's what we're all going to find out here coming up. Well, thanks for being with us today. My thanks again to Rob Mullens. It really is always interesting talking with him and his perspective on the greater world that we're living in right now. Tip-off Tuesday tonight. I'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing